by arranging a no-show job for Kawhi Leonard back in 2022.
When Steve Ballmer came and had that interview with Ramona Shelburne, he had plausible deniability.
Was there an exception made in terms of our relationship with aspiration? Absolutely not.
These revelations that came out today had substantially less plausible deniability.
The vice chairman of the Clippers made an independent decision to invest in aspiration 9 days before Kawhi Leonard got paid when no one else was getting paid.
How broad do your powers extend? As far as penalties you can assess to the Clippers, to Kawhi Leonard?
I have very broad powers in these situations.
So those allegations, they have unspooled over the last month. And on Monday, the Clippers, they held media day. And we heard from Kawhi Leonard for the first time since the NBA's investigation into that alleged cap circumvention began. Here's what he had to say.
I mean, it's easy for me. I mean, I don't read headlines or do conspiracies, theories, or anything like that. I mean, the NBA is going to do their job. None of us did no wrongdoing.
I think the allegation was that you didn't perform any services for them. Is that accurate, or did you do things for them?
I don't think it's accurate, but it's old. This is all new to you guys. I understand that full contract and the services that I had to do. Like I said, I don't deal with the conspiracies or the clickbait analysts or journalism that's going on.
Dennis knows the rules, Kawhi knows the rules, Mitch Franco knows the rules, and we know the rules.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes, we all know the rules.
That wasn't the question. Ramona Shelburne was the one asking those questions, and she joins us now. We got to hear from Kawhi Leonard for the first time. What was your biggest takeaway here, Ramona?
Well, I wanted to hear from Kawhi Leonard because for 4 weeks we've been talking about this story, and I wanted to ask him flat out, did you do any work for this company?
Yeah.
I mean, the reporting had been that it was a no-show job. Okay, did you do anything? Did you provide any services? And he said, I don't think that's accurate. Now, that would have been the time to provide some examples of work that he may have done or had been contracted to do that didn't happen. And instead, he continued to talk about this is old, this happened a few years ago, you guys are just now finding out. I also wanted to know, and I think we all want to know, how much of that $28 million you were contracted for were you actually paid?
Yeah.
And he said, I'll have to check my books, but in the bankruptcy filing, he was listed as being owed $7 million. He said, I'm owed a lot more than that. So in other words, even though he was contracted for $28 million, I don't think he actually was paid very much of that at all, at least based on what he said. Now, we didn't get much more detail. And I think that was the point where detail would have been helpful.
And I think you and I have had this conversation, whether or not that lack of detail, maybe a more generous take on it could be that's Kawhi Leonard's personality.
Right.
We don't necessarily hear that from him on any front, but knowing the importance and the gravity of this situation and the time you had to be able to prepare and talk about it, it would have been really important to have that detail. Now, we know that there's a difference, Ramona, between the amount that we talk about this situation and the amount that it actually impacts a Clippers locker room that's hoping to make a splash in the West. What is that gap?
It's giant. I mean, the guy who was asked about the aspiration story was Kawhi Leonard and Lawrence Frank. And every other player on Clippers Media Day was asked about the Clippers. Chris Paul was asked about coming back to the Clippers after all these years. And Bradley Beal was asked about leaving Phoenix. And James Harden was asked about is he going to load manage, or is he going to, so he can stay fresh at the end of a playoff series. He actually had some interesting comments about Chris Paul and how he's sort of the loudest voice in the room already. He's taking the young kids out to practice. John Collins was delightful. I mean, there was one story over here with Kawhi and Lawrence Frank, and there was the team which starts training camp today. And I don't know that we hear much more about this while the NBA investigates, unless there's some new revelation or some new news. But one thing that's in the back of everyone's mind, the All-Star game. That's at Intuit Dome this year in February. Would be good to have some resolution on this, one way or the other, before that.
Adam Silver has said that this is a process that could be a long one. We don't necessarily have an end date, but you're right. It would be interesting to know if we will see this open and shut by February. Ramona Shelburne, thank you so very much for your work.
75, you know what I'm saying? I'm clicking in year 75. Gotta do 75. I'm gonna enter my 75th season. Super stoked, super excited. And to be in this league again, be a part of it. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a hell of a year. So, Laker Nation, let's go, and let's get tapped in.
A record 23rd season. That means 23 media days for LeBron James. Here's how it's looked over the years. He said that 70 active players, they weren't even born when he made his debut. Well, with that kind of longevity, it also comes with a little bit of wear and tear, right? So the last time we saw LeBron James on the court, he was playing through an MCL sprain in the Lakers elimination game in Minnesota. That was the first round of the playoffs, right? Our Dave McMenamin, he covers the Lakers for us. He spoke to LeBron on Monday. Dave, what is the latest on LeBron James' health?
Malika, LeBron told me that he's not where he wants to be at this stage of the preseason. Now, he said, of course, that he has time to get there. But really, this is something that the Lakers are monitoring and LeBron's monitoring, and we discussed his ramp-up plan yesterday at Media Day.
How do you feel coming into the challenge of 82 games plus a hopeful playoff run?
Yeah, for sure. That's always the challenge. You know, how can I get my body close to 100%? Obviously, coming off the MCL sprain of last year, obviously, you know, the foot has kind of given me a little problems from time to time throughout the course of the last few seasons. So that's always the challenge of seeing how I can get my body, you know, as close to 100% where I can go out and perform at a high level. So a lot of miles on my game. I've, you know, trained, you know, throughout the course of the off season. But just my presence is going to be important as well. You know, making sure that even if I'm not on the floor, just I'm always in tune with what we're doing, so I know what's going on at all times. So, you know, just looking forward to that.
LeBron told me that it remains to be seen how much he'll participate in training camp and in the preseason. I'm told that the plan going into the Lakers' first practice today is that LeBron would be a limited participant on the court, maybe only be involved in some light shooting, but certainly be here and be present. As for the preseason, the Lakers have 6 preseason games. He only played in 3 last year, and I was told that maybe he overdid it last year leading into the beginning of the season when he wore out come December. And so I'm told that LeBron's camp has spoken to the Lakers, and they said, let's be overly cautious with LeBron because we want to be looking at the long view here. If this team's going to be contending for a championship, we need LeBron in his best shape from April through June.
All right, and maybe that looks like not going full court press here in the preseason. Dave McMenamin, thank you very much. I want to welcome in our NBA analyst, Kendrick Perkins, into this conversation as well. Perk, I think you're there. Are you out there? There he is. Perk, when you're turning 41, you know what? I was concerned for 1 second. But when you're turning 41 in December, like LeBron is, right, is that at all concerning to hear that he's not ready to go for the start of training camp, or is that just part of the course?
Malika, guess what?
What?
I'm turning 41 in November. We the same damn age, damn it. And he's still playing. He is still playing. So if he needs load management and to make sure that he's going to be available throughout the course of the regular season and in a playoff run, then damn it, he's deserved the right. I'm looking forward to watching Luka Doncic. This is his team now. The keys are in his hands. What is Luka going to look like in the preseason? What is he going to look like playing alongside DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart? I'm never worried about LeBron James. He knows his body more than anybody else's around the league or anybody in the history of the game when it comes down to taking care of his body. But this is Luka time, starting in preseason, the leadership. How are you going to lead? Are you going to be that guy that's going to overemphasize playing and locking in on the defensive side of things? So again, the Lakers are doing the right thing. LeBron James and his camp is doing the right thing. We want to see him for the regular season, not training camp in the preseason.
Well, the Lakers, they are practicing imminently. I'm very curious to see if LeBron James is out on the floor. It doesn't sound like he is going to be. And when we next hear from him on how the Wild West has earned its moniker, especially over the last 5 years. The conference has boasted a different champion each of the last 5 seasons. And the Rockets, the Lakers, the Clippers, they're among those that have their eyes set on making it 6 different conference champions heading into this year. And then there's Minnesota. They have been knocking on that door of the NBA Finals the past 2 playoffs. And at yesterday's media day, the Wolves, they talked about at length what it's going to take to get over the hump. And it was highlighted by a big boost of Anthony Edwards. If he has an MVP-type season, right now he has the 6th shortest odds for the award. Here was Ant when he was asked about the key to winning MVP and some tips he learned from Michael Jordan this summer.
We got to win. Yeah, I think all MVPs win at a high level, average a whole bunch of points. Yeah, I think that's the main recipe. Win and average a whole bunch of points. Just getting to my spots, pulling up, shooting over the defender. I think the best thing, tip that he's gave me is most people lean on people in the post with their ass, and he do it with the top part of his back. So I think I learned that from him. Greatness is born. So
it was a lot of boring days in the gym just working on one dribble pull-ups. But I think it benefits me.
All right, so Ant and Jordan talking a couple of X's and O's this summer, and they're talking about how to post up effectively, right? Did you know, Monica, that Kobe Bryant, he once called Kendrick Perkins the best post defender he ever faced?
Let me find out.
Right.
Okay, Perk.
So with those kind of credentials, with those kind of
I'll send you the
credentials,
clip.
why is this kind of post technique so effective?
Well, it wasn't effective for me, but again, I'm not Michael Jordan. I was the one that actually used my ass and hips to get my post position. But with Jordan, it's all about the feel. Some people would think it was swag, but I want you to take a look at this clip. First of all, Dan Marley is cooked. Okay, Thunder Dan is cooked already. He's scared because if he was down in the right position, ready to defend and had a base like this or a little lower, then I would say he's ready to defend. What Jordan is doing now is that he's having a feel to see which way which shoulder can I turn off or turn around on and shoot the jump shot. And once he saw that I could get over my left shoulder and I could pull up, raise up under him because he's off balance. That's why you seen Thunder Dan Marley, he wasn't able to even get up and contest the shot. That's why a lot of players that's elite offensive players, they use the back instead of the behind.
Well, what about a lock there for Ant if you use the back instead of the behind?
Girl, I know we relate on this. All I saw in that is all that core strength to maintain your balance.
Yeah.
But I think, too, and Perk, you know this, like the whole thing is, and you said it, MJ is feeling out where the defender is, right? But to be able to lean with your back as opposed to your bottom half, if Ant or MJ, as we've seen, want to turn around face up, like you have more options in that. And I think to me, if Ant really adds this to his game, Malika, oh my goodness. Like it's just so hard to stop because of his explosiveness and athleticism.
And this really, the internet went crazy when they heard this. We had heard that Anthony Edwards was taking tips from Michael Jordan, but this specific skill set, it's going to be really interesting to see it translate to the floor. Not everybody had a story about talking to Michael Jordan this summer, but yesterday's media day, it had a ton of great moments. So we thought we'd put y'all on the clock. So Monica Perk, I'm going to ask you a question. Y'all have 24 seconds to give your answers. Shall we begin with Giannis Antetokounmpo? Because he had to teleconference into Bucks Media Day. He was in Greece. He had COVID. He did, though, have a lot to say about everything with the Bucks, including confirming reports he considered his options this summer. He also said he didn't remember a conversation with Bucks owner Wes Edens about his long-term future with Milwaukee. So Perk, 24 seconds on the clock. What do you make of this?
What I make of it is I actually love it because Giannis continues to put pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks to surround him with the pieces that he needs to go compete with a title. It's okay for him to say things, and I love that he say things to make them uncomfortable. But I do believe that Giannis will be in a Bucks uniform because didn't they just sign his brother Thanasis? Right? Isn't he signed? So Giannis will be there.
Whoa. Next up, the status of Jonathan Kuminga. It was all the talk in the Bay. Here's what the Warriors had to say.
Yeah, he'll be committed when he gets here. I just know from man to man, he doesn't want to have to be in the way of anything. So let that situation play out. He can speak for himself.
I know what that is like. You know, I've been in this league going on 15 years now, and it will get handled. And I know that both sides will be happy in the end. But, you know, we all love JK. We all want JK to be happy. We all want this organization to be happy. So we're going to let JK and this organization figure it out.
Monica, how confident are you this situation will be resolved?
Listen, it's interesting to hear from Jimmy Butler, who has been in some situations over the course of his career. Now, here's my wrinkle. I'm not 100% sure what the market is for Jonathan Kuminga, but I feel like this, I think is going to be a breakup ultimately, has been sort of out in the atmosphere for the better part of the last 2 seasons. I'm not feeling good about this getting resolved, Malika.
I think it's going to get resolved in the short term for the start of training camp. Long term, that's what remains to be seen. Hey, why don't we go to Houston? Steven Adams reunited with Kevin Durant.
No, he was cool, bro. Yeah, just solid dude, good teammate. You know what I mean? He wasn't a cool or anything. Like he was a good man, bro.
Steven Adams. Perk, you played with both of these guys. What kind of teammate is KD?
Oh, a great teammate. And look, he's a great leader at that when he wants to be. When Russell Westbrook went out, I saw Kevin Durant leadership go through the roof. So it's a reason that I call him out every now and then about his leadership, because I know he could do it. He's a gym rat. He works hard, and he encourages his teammate every single night to go do the best that they can.
And it was fascinating. He said he's going to sign an extension.
I saw that.
And then there's Nikola Jokic. Here's how he sees his career playing out.
My plan is to beat Nuggets forever, so that's my answer.
You gotta love Jokic. Another title, though. He's gonna be a Nugget forever. Is he gonna win another title there, Monica?
I do think he'll win another title, and I think he's got a good chance to beat a Nugget forever. In an era of guys moving around and whatever they got to do, and I get it, I respect it. But to me, if you're Denver, don't mess this up. He clearly loves basketball. He tolerates all of us harassing him about basketball because we love his game, and then wants to go to his home country and kick it with his horses. So don't mess this up. Let him be a Nugget forever.
Just wants to kick it with horses. Girl, I can relate. He's still to come on NBA.
Against the Boston Celtics in the first ever NBA Pioneers Classic on ESPN, a game that will be played annually and honors the NBA's pioneers' enduring legacy. As a former player and coach, this moment means a lot. We stand on the shoulders of these men, Earl Lloyd, Chuck Cooper, Nat Clifton, who broke barriers and made it possible for all of us to be here.
Jason Tatum, he posted on social media this weekend with a workout video that got everybody very excited because despite him saying he feels a little rusty, the fact he's not on the court at all, running drills, it had Boston fans getting hyped for maybe a sooner than expected return. Now, on Media Day, Jason Tatum and head coach Joe Mazzulla, they had a message for Celtics Nation. Take a listen.
There's no pressure to return back any sooner than, when I'm 100% healthy. No pressure from Brad, Joe, the team, the organization. The most important thing is that I'm 100% recovered and healthy whenever I do come back.
I think as a guy that's going through stuff, you have to know that going through it together, and I think that's a piece that's important. So I was there for the first time he walked, I was there for the first time he ran, I was there for the first shots that he took. So I think it's important, and you try to do that for everybody.
All right, so it sounds like the Celtics, similarly to what we heard from Jason Kidd with Kyrie Irving, are saying, yes, you're going to see those videos, but let's all be patient here. Perk, how should the Celtics, an organization you know well, won a championship with, be approaching this season?
Well, first of all, I need to go to when they go overseas. I need to get some of that and have Jason Tatum back. You know what I mean? I want to be able to have edges too, you know what I'm saying? I want to be able to lay it down in the front too. That's number one. All right, number two, let me say this. A lot of people are counting the Celtics out. I know they had a salary dump. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday. Jason Tatum obviously coming back off his Achilles injury. But I believe that they will be a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. I believe that this is the time where Jaylen Brown is going to show the world that he belongs in the conversation, that he could actually lead a team by himself and get wins. Derek White is a guy that's always knocking at the door of being a borderline all-star. Peyton Pritchard, we know what he's capable of doing, 6th man of the year. And those players that they have on the roster, Anthony Simons, he's a proven 20-point scorer, right? And so Sam Hauser, NBA champion. And we know what type of mindset Joe Mazzulla is coming in with. He loved these type of challenges. This team is going to be ready, and they're going to be a force in the Eastern Conference until Jason Tatum get back. They're going to be a top 6 seed in the East.
Perk, I love that you called. We're on the same page on both things because I think you and I, as 4C hair type people, our hair would never look like Jason Tatum's them soft curls. But to the point,
we're not booking a trip to Turkey right now, friends.
We're not. To the point of the team, I think this is an incredible opportunity. We know who Jaylen Brown is. We know who Joe Mazzulla has been. We know about this team, but I think the absence of Jason Tatum does not mean that this team is not going to be good. And I think that's where maybe as we all get ready for this NBA season, folks got to sit back, right? There's no reason for him to rush back. They've got really great pieces. They are an organization that is well respected. Might it look different without him? Sure. But as you think about the longevity and the opportunity, like we all sat here 2 years ago or a year ago when they won and talked about a potential dynasty opening up.
Right.
And so there's still that opportunity. There's no reason to put everything on this particular season. And I'm with Perk. I think this team can still be very good without him.
Well, and listening to what Jason Tatum said when he was on this show just last week, I asked him, does Joe Mazzulla even have it in him to be the type of coach that can pilot maybe a team that needs to take a break for a year, rebuild for a year? And he already cut me off before the question even came out, said this entire team is not built to be able to lose games. And so that's...
Well, he said all the right things. The most important thing is that he's excited, he's motivated, and that means that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office did their job this offseason, right? If he's coming into training camp and he's happy and he's excited about this season, he's excited about the moves that they made. And I'm excited as well. I'm very high on the Los Angeles Lakers. I got them right up there with OKC and Houston, and I wouldn't be surprised if this team make it to the NBA Finals. They have a lot of young veteran guys. I love what Rui Hachimura brings to the game. Austin Reeves, we saw flashes of what he could be last year for us, the strides he took offensively. Luka in great shape. They got a point of attack defender and Marcus Smart on the perimeter. And DeAndre Ayton, I believe we're going to see the best version of him, something that we haven't seen in a long time. His mental is going to be there. So I'm high on this Los Angeles Lakers team, and if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, you feel good about what LeBron James is saying right now, because that means he's excited and motivated, and he's pleased about what they did this offseason.
Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was, where was LeBron's mindset? The last time we saw him was limping off the court in Game 5, and as you heard in his interview, he still has that love to play the game. Here's a player that's 40 years old and is still a top 10 player in the NBA, and what LeBron said is that when that love for the game isn't going to be there, that's going to be his signal to walk away from it, and it's not going to be how great Luka is and what next year could look like. It's when he'll know when he's done playing, but he's not done quite yet. He still thinks that this team can contend in the Western Conference here, and he looks, certainly from a health standpoint, that's going to be the biggest thing as far as where he is this year, because as I said, he's coming off that knee injury from that Minnesota series.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see. I do think the Houston situation at point guard is something obviously to monitor, but I'm with you guys. I think this team can be a top 4 or 5 team in the Western Conference, which will be tightly contested. Luka's looking great, almost as good as Perk is looking these days. Perk is looking like a skinny Luka out there right now. All right, let's move on here. One of the storylines
medium, George.
Oh, medium, okay. One of the storylines that's dominated the offseason has been the NBA's investigation to the alleged cap circumvention between the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi has yet to speak on the allegations, but while we wait for Leonard to hit the podium, here's a straightforward denial from Clippers President of Basketball Operations, Lawrence Frank.
The salary cap governs everything we do. Our mission every day is to build the best team we can under the constraints of the cap. There is no gray area. There are no secret shortcuts. It's clear what we are and are not allowed to do. The accusations made against us are serious, and they don't line up with my experience, my reality. We will cooperate with this investigation and let this process play out. But we're eager for the whole truth, the whole picture. We're very confident that we're on the right side of things. Dennis knows the rules, Kawhi knows the rules, Mitch Frankel knows the rules, and we know the rules.
Bobby, where do you lie on all of this thus far?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to what I said a couple weeks ago when I was on the show. What the optics say and what the eventual proof will eventually say are probably two different things here. Listen, we live in a world where salary cap circumvention is the cardinal sin when it comes to how the league looks at it and how the teams go about their business here. And I believe what Lawrence Frank said on TV or when he did his media conference earlier today. They're not going to salary cap circumvent to basically go out and pay Kawhi Leonard more than what they already paid him, which was the maximum salary allowed here. We'll let this investigation play out. If they are convicted of it, yes, they will pay a significant penalty. But until they are convicted of it, I believe where the Clippers are right now.
Medium Perk?
I'm with Bobby. Like, we got to let this play out. You know what I mean? A pair of lips could say anything. You had the reports, but let the investigation take place. Let it happen, and let's see where it's at right now. I mean, once it's over with. But as of right now, it's just a lot of speculation. And so, you know, I'd rather not even, you know, dive too deep into it.
Yeah, look, the league is going to take its time. We know they've hired an independent investigator in this particular situation. And I think you do take your time in this situation because you want to make sure that whatever you find, you give the investigation firm an ample amount of time to dig into things and make sure. All right, Malika, great stuff from you and Steph there. All right, Perk, got to ask you, what's Chef Curry going to have to cook up this season to reach the expectations that they have for themselves?
Well, I mean, he's going to have to play like a top 10 player in the league. And one thing, I would never go against the light-skinned brother with the green eyes, especially with him having Jimmy Butler alongside of him. But the problem that I do have is that Malika just talked about it and asked Steph about it, about basically not having, you know, everybody there for us to start a training camp. And I know how vital it is when you're trying to compete for a title and go win a championship, especially getting out of a tough Western Conference. It is crucial to get off a great start. Training camp is more about just what you do on the floor, but it's about the camaraderie, the chemistry that you build off the floor, and they really have to get this Jonathan Kuminga situation done real quick. Whether it's, you know, they're going to come to agreement and sign them, and he's going to show up, or whatever the case may be, but they need to get this behind them.
Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to look at what they did after the Jimmy Butler trade last year as far as being one of the best teams in the Western Conference and what this team could have been if Stephen Curry had remained healthy here. I think I look at big picture for where this Warriors team is. If we're looking at tiers in the Western Conference, I think they're in a tier 3 among all teams. Oklahoma City's in tier 1 by themselves. And then we look at teams certainly like Houston and Denver in that tier 2. Clippers, I would also put there. And then them and the Lakers in tier 3, but certainly with room to improve to get to that tier 2. My big concern with Golden State is, as Perk just said, the Kuminga situation here. We're going to get some clarity on that by Wednesday, October 1st, when that qualifying offer is set to expire, if he takes that, or a new deal. And then also the age of this roster, when you have 4 players, now added Al Horford, who are in their mid-30s, who are going to play a lot of minutes during this year. If they can get that Kuminga situation resolved and kind of block out the noise, yes, I do think this Golden State team can be one of these teams that can contend with Oklahoma City in the Western Conference.
Yeah, well, that's just a couple of days away. And, of course, Bobby Marks. And welcome in the host of the Hoop Collective podcast, Brian Windhorst. Brian, you're there in Houston. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I think the key thing with Durant, I don't know if you're aware of this, George. The last couple of times he was going to be a free agent, it was kind of a big story. It only hung over the entire NBA for the whole year. So him coming in today and saying, look, I want to be here and I plan to be here, I envision staying here, that was important. This is a little bit more complicated time in the NBA because of the aprons and stuff that's annoying to fans but is very real for teams. You can't just hand out automatic max contract extensions, especially to guys who are 37 years old, like Kevin turned today. But I think his message that he wanted to send was he came here because he really believes in this team. He has a great relationship with Coach Ime Udoka, and he wants this to be his home. There's a lot of excitement around this team here today, muted by the fact that Fred VanVleet was not here, coming off ACL surgery, and they're going to have to manage that for sure. But the Durant message he sent here today is that I'm a Rocket, I'm going to be a Rocket going forward, and that's probably the most important thing that could happen today.
Brian, quick follow-up here for you. What is the expectation at point guard for this team?
Yeah, it's a really good question that has a bit of a detailed, complicated answer. They don't have a replacement. So Ime Udoka said today they're going to do it by committee, which could include Kevin Durant playing some point guard. But more interesting, Amen Thompson, their young, high upside forward, he's going to play point guard for this team a lot, as is 2024 number 3 pick Reed Shepherd. I don't know if this is the formula for a team to instantly contend with the Thunder, but it's a formula for a team that's going to be exciting to watch.
Perk, what do you think?
I don't think we should put too much emphasis in the point guard position. They have a lot of guys that could push the ball, push the pace, and get them in the offense. I think this team needs to solely be locked in on what their identity is, and that's being one of the better defensive teams in the league. That's what they need to do and get out and run, and I believe they will. I think Wendy is right. We will see Kevin Durant running some point forward at times, which he thrives well. He's an underrated playmaker, but I'm excited about the Rockets. And Wendy, I'm a little disappointed in you. You touched down in Houston, Texas, and you didn't call your boy Big Perk to pull up on you. I mean, damn.
I was expecting to see you at the airport, Perk, and you were not there. And no, you did not send a car either.
Bobby, what are you weighing on this?
Listen, the Fred VanVleet injury stings here. I do think this Rockets team has enough to compete in the Western Conference. As Brian said, we're going to see a lot of M.N. Thompson at point guard here. I think the most important takeaway from all of training camp was what Brian said, is that Durant basically has dismissed as far as, becoming a free agent next year and will sign an extension here. And we can kind of put that to bed and now focus on the court for Houston.
And, the one thing this Rockets team needed was a closer, and we know Kevin Durant is certainly capable of doing that. All right.